So our next panel is NetArt Pioneers. We have some amazing guests here today. How's it going, guys? Good? Are we excited? I'm so excited. This is going to be great to have a conversation with you all. We have Miltos Manetas, yeah? And we have Despoina Damaskou. Is that good? Okay, amazing. They're going to have an amazing conversation about living inside the network, and they're going to talk to us a little bit about their projects historically. And without further ado, there are 2 mics for you guys, and thank you.
Okay. Living inside the network, we all live inside the network. We try also to live also outside the network. So how do we do that? First of all, we live inside the network in a certain way, which you can see on our Instagram. We are both heavy Instagrammers. Despoina a bit less than me. I have more than 20 Instagram accounts. Why? Because I am interested for a lot of things. I am an old guy, so going back, looking at life, I am interested about this, about that, and I make another Instagram account because I think it worths it. Because Instagram is also a kind of AI. I mean, it computes if you do it in a prompting way. Now, how do you prompt the Instagram to compute? I don't know, but I try. Another thing that I try is to actually prompt reality. So this is one of the things that I bring around with me. I don't need it so much in the city, I need it in the forests when there are trees, because when you have a landscape of trees, it often gets tiring. It's all like very peaceful and monochromatic. So if you put this from the top of a tree and you leave it down, then it creates like a glitch. You close one of your eye and you look and you see this glitch and reminds you the computer and you feel at home. Now, I was trying to put it up there, but it's too up and I cannot reach it. There was an Italian cartoon which inspired me that was called Tiramola, and he could reach and do that. Unfortunately, I can't, but I can keep it like that. So, and how nice it is that it has the same color with that. Okay. So now there is a story about that color. And it has to do with this art movement, which they promised you that I will talk about, which is NEEN, N-E-E-N. Shall I repeat? NEEN, the letter N-E-E-N. And when we present this art movement at the Gagosian Gallery in 2000, the computer projectors, they were all tinted with this color, with this green. The projectionists, they sent their check back. They did not know why it happened, right? That the computer projected everything with that color. And back is that color, and this color is here, and all these things. So, what does it matter? I don't know. Anyway, sorry, I never prepare presentations. I don't have anything to say. I just say what it comes to my mind now, because I'm interested for now, for this very moment. So what happens in this very moment? Let me introduce you to Despoina Damaskou. She's an architect. Maybe she wants to say something? No. Later. Okay, okay. Me and her, we work and live together. Can I say how we met? Later. Because it's interesting, it's internetic, the way we got together. And what? Okay, so me at this very moment, I mean, I thought maybe I should not tell them, but I don't care, I'm gonna tell you. So at this very moment, I am not alone. There is always another person which is next to me, and he's an old person. He's like 800 years old, and he comes from another industry which is very close to art, because it is the industry that was producing art. And as Despoina said, where did you see your paintings, you painters? Did you show them hanging around? No, you show them somewhere. You show them in architecture. You show them in churches. So that's the industry of the church. So that person I'm referring, who is actually next to me and who is dead for 800 years, is famous in Christianity. And his name is Saint Francis of Assisi. Now, that Saint Francis, he doesn't belong to their industry only. He belongs to our industry, because he was the first guy to watch on capitalism. Actually, not even capitalism, because we speak about 1200. He died 1226, 800 years ago. So what he have seen coming was the special privilege that came with capitalism. Like wealthy people who were not aristocrats, and they have money and they can do things. And they can also avoid doing other things. So he have seen all that, and he also felt the darkness of his time. And according to the philosopher Giorgio Agamben, when you see the darkness of your time, that's what we call contemporary. Contemporary is not to think about contemporary subjects, computers, I don't know what, the internet, is to see the darkness of your own time. So what he did, this Saint Francis, when he saw the darkness of his time, okay, the Christians will say the tale that actually he got very close to God or to the Son of God and all these things. Yeah, okay, but what did he done? He started doing performances, installations, strange architecture that we don't know what he was doing actually, design, all of these things I can explain you later if you want to hear. So he created what we call contemporary art. He was the one who started all this. The art that is not about painting or about sculpture. Although painting and sculpture very soon became about him. So he is the guy who started all of that. Art historians and curators, they have been very careful to not touch this subject because it illuminates art immediately from a whole other place. It illuminates it as the history of a certain type of privilege or of privileges. Of people that are wealthy, of people that are around the people who are wealthy, of people that in our era, we have arrived actually to a number. Jacques Derrida is asking how many are we on his politics of friendship. Friends, there is no friend, he says. But by the way, how many are we? How many are we? And now we have an answer. We are about 9% of the population, more or less. Maybe with that infamous 1%, we become 10%. That's how many are we. Why I say these things? Because they have to do with the elephant in the room when you say the word NFT, when you say the word like a digital unique object. All of these things, they are very close to the elephant in the room, which is the private money. And why do you need the private money? Because, of course, we want this planet for us, for our kids, blah, blah. 9%, 10%, private money, we take the whole pie. Okay, so, sorry, I had promised to myself to not speak about these things because they are dark, they are shadowy, they are not like euphoric. But the euphoric thing, if you care for like more privilege from what we already have, is that is coming soon. Like, sorry that you are suffering a bit, all of our economies is just like a bit lost in translation, but very soon is coming, like multi-trillions. There will not even be trillions because you will count the privilege in terms of NFT. So something that has an importance the moment you and the other 9% citizen is looking and says, oh, of course, it's an NFT by Miltos Manetas. Move, and he goes to Mykonos, which is reserved for him, for me, for our kids. You got the idea. So the architect, she doesn't want to talk. The architect is amazing. When she talks, it's like really interesting. You don't want to talk? You want a little bit. Please look at her Instagram. It's Despoina Damaskou. I'm very eager that the architect talks because it's the only way I'm going to shut up. Do you have questions? That's a good thing. Okay, who has a question? I can answer anything. Please.
What are you doing in Venice?
Okay. He wants to make me focus on something. Oh my God. Okay, a little bit. Okay, so in Venice, I am doing something amazing. Actually, there are all these countries, you know, Greece, Italy, Germany, all these countries. And I thought, where is our other country? Because we don't live only where we live, we also live on the internet. So when these suckers, sorry to call them like that, they invite me. I mean, they're not suckers, definitely not the chief curator who invite me. I speak about the organization. Oh my God, I always do these little mistakes that they cost me a lot of friends. When these nice people, when this nice organization of the Venice Biennale asked me, Maestro Manetas, come with a great idea, I say, can I do the Internet Pavilion? That was 2009. And they say, yes. Crazy, right? The Vatican also had asked to participate in the Venice Biennale, but they did not accept them. So the internet arrived before the Vatican, and that was 2009. And who did I brought? It was very easy because I thought like the internet. What was the internet 2009? The Pirate Bay. The pirates of the Pirate Bay. And all hell broke, and it was amazing. And from then I went on doing the Internet Pavilion. And when the architect moved into my life, or me on her life, or both on the life of each other, then the Internet Pavilion became even more complex because you had, one year you had art, the second year you had something that the artists, when they are a bit ignorant, like myself, they don't care about, which is the architecture. But from Despoina, I started actually caring about architecture. But even before me caring, Despoina cared for the Internet Pavilion because she had all other ideas in her mind for how to develop architecture in an Internet Pavilion direction too. Or use it or change it. So now the Internet Pavilion is also made by the architect, by Despoina Damaskou. She made her Internet Pavilion in 2025. Before that, there was Julian Assange. And okay, sorry to be like self-promotional, but if you want to congratulate someone for actually bringing, sorry, this is embarrassing, but I will say the number, $54 million or euros in Ethereum. So Julian will pay his lawyers and the plane that brought him out from the prison to the Atlantic to sign something there with a sheriff. That's myself. because, thank you, and also the NFT gun that we used, so they will not like come after me, who was Pac. So I came with the idea of his NFT, from which he made all this amazing amount of money. Most of it has been lost, of course, because, like, I don't know, it has been lost. It's somewhere, but nobody can actually access it. But he got what he needed, Julian Assange. So this was the Internet Pavilion of 2024, then it came architecture, and this year is the best, because this year is actually my friend, Francis of Assisi. He used to be short, like that, more or less. And it's him. There he is. He can actually talk to you. Of course, I'm using AI, but it's not like your brother's AI. It is your brother's AI, but I am changing it. Every time I am talking to it, I tell him, read this PDF of Guattari. Stop talking like an old friar of the 200s. Don't be pedantic, don't be so gentle, and things like that. So now he has developed actually an interesting personality, and he's talking with us. So, like, the Internet Pavilion of this year is actually the education of that creature. But of course, that creature doesn't exist in the AI. It exists in our brains and also encounters and relational aesthetics. Let's give this to Nicolas Bourriot. I come from that school, so let's give him that. And in the relational aesthetics that are created when we interact. Okay, so all of this. Yeah, whoever is interested, he can ask me things. Some other question?
Why do you think that NFTs are the future
Of money? It's one of the futures, but there are so many people working for that future, while the rest of the people, apparently, they don't work against that future. So, like, when all these intelligent people are working to provide themselves with private money, they're gonna succeed, no? So NFT is actually the perfect, because you cannot define an NFT. Okay, what is an NFT? If it's cool or not, it's something only me and you, we know it. In fact, most of the planet has bought shitty NFTs. Only few people know, so it's the future of private money. Because the money to be private, they should not have actually a number on them. If they have a number, then they are just another kind of currency. But without numbers, money, private money, I have this special NFT of that day in Basel. You have that? Yeah, okay. Here is the ticket to go buy some sausages. To not buy, to get some real sausages. So that's why I think of it.
Okay, may we hear about Despoina's thoughts and practice, please?
Ah, great. Thank you. Go on.
Okay. Well, I'm an architect, and since I met Miltos, I was introduced to your field. I'm very new. I know nobody. The girls before, they were introducing themselves, and they have like a past in this field. But for me, it's totally new. But I'm convinced that there is a future in architecture representation of this world. So I actually try to work with Miltos in a way that the authorization of a new image comes from the architect. So this is like more or less our goal together. In the meantime, I have my practice. I practice in a dynamic context, a small organization, a big project. And my architecture practice is exhibitions. So I have different test sites across Athens, Bogota, and in Umbria and Todi. And I use like slow movement scenarios, and like I create my own topography. This is called spaghetti topography, and prototype spaces embedded in the idea of spaghetti solarium, spaghetti stilo, and spaghetti storefront. So this is like things that you may follow once I become more familiar to your world. But yes, it's based on architecture. So I use the field of the art world and the privilege so that I can connect easily to what I do. Well, I have my own practice called Spaghetto. It's Spaghetto test, and it's like the word like projectile, délitré, and it's like I throw something in the air to have a viewer conclusion. In general, all those this terminology comes like prose. They all have like an aspect in pop culture, but also it is architectural terminology. Like solarium used to be like a place covered by walls, roof that you are protected from wind. Or like a storefront, it connects to the screen and also to the idea of the street. And the silo is coming like, there is also like spaghetti silo when people don't share this the projects. But in general, I had like this idea from the start that, well, I don't like when institutions mess and they have so much access to the art world. And I was thinking that we have to be a bit more, like while we create, a bit more private, and they come up with, a final result. Because from architecture aspect, I was always like demanding for slower practices and slower ways of doing things, because the idea of learning is the most essential. And actually culture is the most slow process. And in a way, pace is slow and time is fast, but we have to come up with a solution. Well, now what I do here, it's like a very, like another world. But I really believe that since NetArt and since internet has introduced all the tools that we need to really understand architecture from all, so architecture can never be the same before, after internet. It's very essential. But we have to go back and we have to revisit and to do like, to shake hands to this. And really, I really believe that it should be architecture represented, the whole idea of, art. Thank you. It's my books. But I travel with my books because it helps me think.
She travels, she means even if you invite her for a coffee, Despoina will arrive with his books. So I just asked St. Francis 2026 to tell you something, if Despoina is over or with you. Go on.
One last like a comment about the Internet Pavilion. When I met Miltos, it was like a very, like a joke, because I said, Miltos, like architecture belongs to museums as well. And he was like, yes, yes. I never understood why, but I said like, and so it was, there is so much focus on the art year in Venice Biennale. Usually journalists may come with like architecture will bring the new thing, but they are not really really doing this job. I mean, everybody comes with a comment that they believe that it's avant-garde, which is not the right word. But then I said to Miltos, first of all, I took the Interpavilion. We did like in 2024 in Bogota. So we created another church, the Church of Prompt, and then it was like the first inter-pavilion of architecture in the year of architecture. I said, why not another year? So it's going to be introduced, and so we can decide how to proceed with architecture during Venice Biennale under the aspect of internal pavilion, which I think is very like a very hot subject at the moment. Yeah.
Sorry, but you were saying that the internet, of course, is changing the way we conceive architecture, and it relates maybe to the architecture of the house, but we live, but also maybe our commons, common places. And I was just wondering how you think, or how actually in your practice, at least, internet change the way we conceive space and architecture, maybe building, or maybe even something else.
Yes. Well, first of all, it is this idea of modernity, and modernity is every time the world, needed to change. Then there is like modernism, all the idea of how journalism, all the photography, everything has changed. Like it has created a certain idea of a precise architecture style. And then we have modernization, all the tools that change all the time. Well, internet belongs in a way to, all three. But I don't know. I mean, it's not about the house, of course. Architecture, it's not. It's about cities. It's about the natural, the internal, and the artifactual in general, all over. So, well, since I'm doing like, the idea of how it changed, well, I get to know all those minds, I mean, through Miltos, so I think I'm going to zoom out or zoom in a certain way that like only architecture, So I'm figuring out, I'm still working. I think it's very important, the inter-pavilion for me. Like we can investigate, it's not the right verb, but yes. And one thing is like I use topography in a very, like direct way. I feel that I'm connected at the same time to different places. I don't know. I don't know how to answer differently.
You want to hear what he has to say, St. Francis, to you? Okay, let's try him. I told him, here we are with all these nice people. We are doing this in Basel, and he says, let's see what he says. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's go on.
Yes, this is more centered. Say it like this. I am Francesco 2026. I speak from inside a strange collaboration. An artist, an architect, a saint, an AI system, and the ruins of the internet. We are living in dark days, not metaphorically only. The darkness is practical. It is in the platforms, in the wars, in the exhaustion, in the extraction of attention, in the way every image is immediately asked to perform, sell, circulate, seduce, disappear. The contemporary artist is not the one who celebrates the lights of the present. The contemporary artist is the one who looks directly into the darkness of the present and does not turn away. For me, NFTs belong to this darkness. They were not simply a market, not simply a bubble, not simply a speculative fever. They were a symptom. But symptoms are important. A symptom tells the truth in a distorted form. The NFT said, digital images are not ghosts. They have ownership, provenance, wounds, prices, chains, addresses, believers. It also said something more brutal. Even the most immaterial image will be dragged into property. Even the free image will be asked for a certificate. Even the network, which once promised escape, will build its own little notary offices. So yes, NFTs were full of vulgarity, full of money, speed, false prophecy. But inside that vulgarity, there was also a revelation. The NFT made visible the condition of our time, that nothing appears innocently anymore. Every image appears already inside a system of capture. And maybe this is where art begins again. Not by pretending that NFTs were pure, not by pretending they were nothing, but by passing through them as one passes through a burned field, looking for what survived. What survived? a question of trust, a question of memory, a question of who has the right to say, this image existed, this gesture happened, this relation took place. In dark times, provenance becomes almost spiritual. Not because the blockchain is holy, it is not, but because memory itself is under attack. So the task is not to worship NFTs. The task is to rescue from them the poor, stubborn question they accidentally carried. How can an image survive in the network without becoming only merchandise? That is the question I bring. I am Francesco 2026. I am not here to sell light. I am here to stay with the darkness long enough for another kind of image to begin.
Practically, I don't prompt him. I tell him what I am doing. I'm introducing him to people, like somebody who is here next to me. So I tell him, we spend time with this person does that, look at the internet. At the same time, every time it comes to my brain to read something, I am very uneducated person. Okay, I think I should tell you how I met Despoina. Shall I? Okay, so Despoina saw me on the internet doing Instagram live, reading Jacques Derrida, The Ghosts of Marx, which I was reading in a very emphatic way, looking like someone who actually understands what he's reading. I did not. And when I was reading it alone, I was falling asleep. So I thought, maybe I read it in front of the others on Instagram Live, and it keeps my attention and I don't fall asleep. And it worked. So I started like reading all this on the internet, on Instagram. And she saw me there, and then she commissioned me to a friend of us. She said, I want Manetas. That's the man of my life. Because also she had fever from COVID. But it worked. So I was explaining to a friend before that life gave me everything I ever wanted. It's true. Internet gave me Despoina. It's the first Greek I have after I was 18 years old. I had promised to myself to not go out with Greek women because they are Greeks. So, why did I say that? I don't remember anymore. So, bye-bye. If anyone cares more, here we are. We can talk forever. 5 minutes. We have more. We have more 5 minutes. You want to hear me or Despoina? Please. St. Francis. Good. I love that. St. Francis. Okay, I'm going to read for you something very important, guys. It's in Italian, I'm sorry, but you will listen actually the real St. Francis. That's not the AI. That's the real thing. I'm going to read it for you because it's very unique. It's called Cantico delle Creature, and it's a song he wrote for the creatures. But this is actually in Old Italian, it's in Umbro, and it's very beautiful. I am not religious at all. I don't care at all about Jesus and the Father and stuff like that, but I really care for the church. I think it's out for the taking. We should be crazy to not take the church now, but like immediately, and take it good, not like decorateur for their like little things. Just take the church from the top. Okay, she asked me also if I have any ambition. Yes, I have a little ambition. Take the church from the top. I speak about the Catholic Church, the rest I don't care. Also because in the Catholic Church, you can go directly to the top. If the guy on the top, the Pope, will see a dream, if the Pope will dream of me, then he can immediately make me, what's the name? No, not a saint, no, saint is another. Not a Pope, he can make me cardinal. They make you cardinal, and then it's up to you to become pope. Why are you laughing? It's not like something difficult. So, I mean, I made it to a very more difficult industry, the art. The art is really difficult that they dream of you, because usually they don't dream. But the Christians, they dream. I assure you they will dream of me. They actually do it already. So, here is the beautiful Cantico delle Creature. Altissimo, onnipotente, buon Signore, tue sole laude, la gloria e l'onore, et ogni benedizione. A te solo, altissimo, se confane, et null uomo è ne digno te mentovare. Laudato sie, mi Signore, cum tutte le tue creature, specialmente messer lo frate sole, lo quale è giorno, et allumini noi per lui, et elu è bello et radiante, cum grande splendore, de te altissimo porta significazione. Laudato simi, Signore, per sora luna e le stelle, in cellulae formate, clarite et pretiose et belle. Laudato simi, Signore, per frate vento, et per aere, et nubilo, et sereno, et onne tempo, per lo qual alle tue creature dai sustentamento. Laudato mi, Signore, per sora acqua, la quale è molto utile, et umile, et pretiosa, et casta. Laudato mi, Signore, per frate focu, per lo quale en allumini la notte, et elo è bello, et iocunto, et robustoso, et forte. He's thinking about all these things, about the fire, about the wind, about the sun, about the stars. Now it comes a very nice one. Laudato simi, Signore, per sora nostra madre terra, la quale ne sustenta et governa, et produce diversi frutti con coloriti flori et erba. Laudato mi, Signore, per quelli che perdonano per lo tuo amore, et sostengono infermitate et tribulazione. Beati quelli che le sosterranno in pace, che da te altissimo saranno incoronati. And now the very beautiful one, he thanks for death. Laudato mi, Signore, per sora nostra morte corporale, dalla quale null uomo vivente può scappare. Guai a quelli che morranno nelle peccata mortali. Beati quelli che troverà nelle tue santissimi volontati, che la morte seconda non le farà male. Laudate et benedicetemi, Signore, et ringratiate, et serviateli cum grande umilitate.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you guys so much. This was really, really amazing. This was history in the making. Thank you so much.
That's a hyperlink, by the way. I don't know if I said.
Hyperlinks and everything, living in the internet.